Zane Clodfelter with Otters TV, here with former Evansville Otter Trevor Walch. And Trevor, obviously it's been a while since we've been able to see you here in town, but how are things been treating you since you last played in Evansville?
They've been good. I mean, I've just been working, enjoying my summers now that I have them. You know, bought a boat, spent some time on the water, doing pretty much everything I couldn't do whenever I was in the season, so eating up time.
What is your favorite thing to do now that you've been out of baseball for a couple of years and now that you have those summers? What is one thing that you learned about yourself that you enjoy that you didn't know before?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. I always loved the lake. I always loved, hunting and fishing and stuff, so I still do that. I just don't have a time constraint. Right. So I know I don't have to go to the lake in late September, whenever season's over, or before spring training. When it's still kind of cold out. So, I mean, honestly, nothing's really changed for me. I still get up and go to work, 5 a.m., same, workout, things like that. So nothing drastic over here.
I know you've been probably keeping tabs of, baseball and sports in general and the lack thereof of sports, during this whole COVID situation. What are your thoughts on it, and how much have you missed, I guess, just being able to get home from work, sit down, and watch a baseball game?
More so than watching the game, I feel for the players, because I couldn't imagine, someone telling me that I couldn't play because the season was suspended or vice versa. I left on my own accord type thing. So that was one thing I always told myself, is I would leave whenever I was ready to leave. That was my goal. Well, I couldn't imagine guys, on what could be their last year of wanting to play, or, like that border, that cusp, saying, hey, I'm going to go back for another season, and then it being suspended. I don't think I could do it. And I feel for those guys, because more so than me watching it, I know how much I enjoyed playing, and I couldn't imagine being those guys that were going to season ready to go, and then bam, they're suspended, the season's suspended. So
right. And then just, a summer without baseball at Bosse Field, I mean, it just kind of seems hard to believe, right?
Yeah, it's a little different considering, even after I left, I still, watched the games or followed up. I text, Skip or Max and just talk smack to them. They're probably going to see this and they're probably going to, call me some names. But, I'll text them, ask them how everything's going. Or, I kept up with Val since I played with him. The guys I played with, I tried to keep up and watch the games that they pitched or they played. Even if I didn't watch the game, I'd always go to the stat line, see how they did, and just make, check in on them. I think I did text Val last year because he had a really good year.
Right.
And, I keep up with some of them. But, yeah, it's just a lot different because I don't watch, honestly, I'll be completely transparent. I don't watch a lot of sports. Okay. I just don't watch sports. I played them my whole life, so I enjoy doing other things now. But I will always, every night, check on the guys that I know that play still, whether they're in the major leagues or minor leagues or, with Evansville. And now it's a little weird. I don't have anything to check on. So. Right.
I know, probably interesting to you that John Schultz decided to come out of retirement, and he said in an interview with us earlier this summer that he does intend to play for Evansville in 2021, so he's just the Iron Man, eh?
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing it, honestly. Good for him. I could go out there and throw you about an inning, maybe two, and then after that, you're just put me on the DL. I'm not going to be able to play anymore. I don't know how he got himself back in shape. I took a break after ball. I took, a year off from lifting, running, doing anything, just didn't have interest in it. And I started to get back into it a couple years ago, or last year actually, and it was miserable. I got into slow pitch softball. I played a game, and I was like, all right, this is horrible. Like, my arm is falling off right now. I made 4 throws.
Really?
So, yeah, I don't know how – good for Schultz. I don't know how he took that long off and got right back into it like nothing happened. He was ready to go. And I hope he keeps playing. I'm happy for the guy. He can hit. He's more so he's a veteran. He's going to bring a lot to that team, and it's great to see.
I did want to ask you, I don't know if you saw or not, the Frontier League prior to this 2020 year, had a big merger with the Can-Am League, and they added franchises in New Jersey, New York, and then in Canada too. Do you have any thoughts on that? Just seeing how much the league is expanding, not only to the west like it had been, but now to the Northeast and even into Canada.
No, it's exciting times for the league. The fact that they've merged and pretty much absorbed another league, it seems like, since we had the more teams, it's an attribute to the Frontier. It just shows the credibility, and other teams for whatever reason, are obviously joining them. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have much thought other than I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the guys that are getting to do that. I would have loved to play those teams. I probably would have asked for Skip and them to fly me, though, because I don't like bus rides. And so I'm not making that bus ride. That's too far.
I am pretty sure for at least the Canadian trip, and I might be so way off here, but I'm pretty sure there were plans in place to at least fly to Canada. So
good for them. Anything over that 8-hour marker, I was just don't talk to me on the bus. Don't even look my way. I'm not making conversation. I was in the worst mood. So, but as far as them absorbing that, merging that's really exciting. It's a great. I had some buddies that played in that league. I think some of our guys might have played in it at the time or before they came to Evansville. They had nothing but good things to say. So it's great for Evansville. It's great for the fan base, and I was excited for it. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But
so you mentioned the bus ride. So I'm sure now that you find out that Traverse City isn't in the league anymore, you're saying timing, eh?
Oh, it's perfect timing. But then you got to look. Now they got Canada, or what else? New Jersey.
Yeah.
Or New Jersey. Yeah, absolutely not. Like I would ask the bitch the day before, so I didn't have to make that bus ride. Like I just
right.
I would not. I mean, I don't like buses.
There wasn't like a team camaraderie, team bonding on the bus or something like that, or no? Just everyone minds themselves.
I mean, as soon as you get on, obviously you play a little LRC. Everyone's awake at that point. But I think for the most part, you have guys sprawled out all over. The trip to get to the bathroom was like going through a maze. You had to go over people's legs, under them. I think there's camaraderie in a sense that, if somebody showered or not, because it'd be the one that stunk on the bus. So,
yeah. Is there a bus trip story? A lot of people I've talked to, I've actually never ridden on the bus with the Otters. If I do games on the road on radio, I drive separately because I also don't like buses. Being a 6'4", person with not a lot of leg room. But is there a bus story? Did one of your teammates ever get left behind on a road trip or something just wacky and crazy that you're just thinking to yourself, just get me home?
Oh, man, I'm trying to think. Every bus ride, honestly, was like that for me. Just get me off this thing. But I can't pinpoint anything.
It's probably a good thing for Andy's sanity, right?
Yeah, you had that one guy every now and then that would go use the restroom on the bus, and that's like a no-no, like confined space. But there are multiple guys, usually rookies. It's usually a rookie mistake, so...
Yeah, it's a no-no also to use the press box bathroom behind where I sit, but people still break that rule during the season all the time. So one other thing I wanted to ask before we let you go, I don't know if you saw or not, the Bosse Field underwent $6 million in renovations between 2019 and before the season was supposed to start this year. Including new lights, new video board. I know you were with the Otters when we had some of those, I called them Bosse Classics, do you remember the lights would turn off, and then luckily by the grace of God, one, we were in the 6th inning, so it was an official game, and two, I think all 3 times it happened, Evansville was winning, so it worked to our advantage. So
someone did it on purpose. They were worried.
Don't say that.
I must have been living in your relief.
This might have been me just trying to get home after a long day of work. But the fact that the city of Evansville and the school board there has invested $6 million into that ballpark, what does it mean to you?
Oh, it's incredible. I love Evansville. I take every chance I get to go back and visit. We were already planning a trip to come this summer. I was planning to come up on like a Thursday through a Tuesday, just spend the whole week, enjoy a day off, obviously up there. But I love every chance I get to come there. It's incredible that Evansville pulled together like that. It just shows that they support the team. It shows that everyone's behind you, whether you have the home hecklers or not. Like at the end of the day, they're still your people. They still take care of you, and it just shows that that's how it is. And some guys that have talked to me about it, I would never choose to play anywhere else.
Had somebody compare the situation with MLB that they're playing these games without fans, had someone in passing compare the second game of an Otters doubleheader to this current situation that you see now in MLB with no fans. Because typically with those doubleheaders when you played, everyone would show up for the first game, they would stay for a little bit of the second game, but then by the fourth or fifth inning in game number 2, everybody was gone. And then you mentioned the hecklers. That's when you would normally hear those home hecklers.
Yeah, I can. I would definitely compare it to that, and I can also thank Max for throwing me in those 7-inning doubleheaders without fans there, because the hitters they weren't excited. So that's probably why my stats are decent.
That, and then finally, you are on the 2016 championship team. Do you have any special memory, from that run the last couple of weeks of the year when you were involved?
It was honestly an exciting time. It was. I wasn't expecting to come back. I retired at the beginning of the year, walked away, but I didn't know Max and them kept me on the suspended list, and they reached out in July and just asked if I would come back to help out in the playoffs. So I took some time off from work, and I did. And it was exciting because in 2014 I was there in 13 and 14 whenever we clinched the playoffs with Poe pitching. One thing I'll always remember is giving Sammy the beer shower in the locker room. And it was just, at that moment I was like, all right, this place is awesome. We're rewarding Sam, our clubby. He wanted more than anything. He didn't think he'd ever see it again. So whenever we won it in 16, it was one of those, it was for me like the Sammy moment, even though I only came in and pitched to 2 batters in that game in relief. But it's the fact that everyone pulled for each other. Even though I wasn't there all season, I came in and did my job. I remember a couple of the guys, mainly Josh, came up and just pumped me up. Let's go type thing. So it was cool. I would definitely say that just winning that game. I'm pretty sure Ackerman pitched.
Yeah, game 5.
Through a gym, threw really well. And I came in after, and we obviously brought in, who was it, McCurry?
Yeah.
McCurry, who I talked to a lot, unfortunately. We're from the same town. He's my boy.
Right.
But that would be my moment. If I had to say, 16 was just amazing. It was great. I didn't think I'd ever touch a ball again. They called me, asked if I could at least relief or, do a little something for them. And I did. That's what I came back to do, and it was exciting. And I can't even put an emotion on it because I never won a ring in my life. That was the only ring I ever won, the only championship I ever won. And I got to contribute, which is great. And contribute or not, it was still a great feeling.
And when I talk to those guys from the 16 team, I always try to wear mine just because, the memories are really good. And for me, I think it was poetic considering what had happened the year before. And, that debate obviously for another day, but you felt like the Otters, just with what Andy was doing, they were due to win a title. And for me personally, being involved in the organization as long as I have, I'm glad they got one.
Yeah, the 15 thing was a fluke, whatever.
Yeah.
I was part of it. But I'd say 16 was definitely – It was definitely a very, like you said, majestic. It was a great feeling, especially after 15 happened, to come back and just redeem ourselves and reprove ourselves. Essentially, the team. I can't they did amazing all season. Whether I was there or not for the first 3 months, they just. I followed them all year. It was incredible. Right. And so whenever I got asked to come back, I was more than thankful, more than blessed. It was great.
Well, Trevor, I really appreciate you taking the time out west to reconnect with us here on Otters TV, and obviously continued health and safety to you.
You too. Y'all be safe over there.
Yeah, we will. He's Trevor Walch. I'm Zane Clodfelter. This has been Otters TV.